If you've submitted your FAFSA, but now you're thinking, wait a minute, I messed something up, don't panic. A FAFSA correction can literally be the difference between getting your aid on time and being stuck in delay land. And we don't want you stuck in delay land, so let's go ahead and jump into how to correct your FAFSA. I'm going to walk you through the most common fixes to save your aid and walk you through the step-by-step process on what to do after you update it. I'm Sarah Luna, and this is what I learned in college. Before you correct anything on your FAFSA, do these 3 things. Screenshot your confirmation and your current info just so you have a record of it. Check your email and your FAFSA portal messages. Sometimes the system itself will tell you exactly what needs fixing, so make sure that you check these. The third thing I want you to do is to keep this in mind. If your school already sent an award letter, know that changes to the FAFSA can update your numbers and your award. Make sure that you allow for new calculations for your awards. One of the biggest issues that students face when filling out the FAFSA is inviting the wrong contributor parent. If your parents are divorced or separated, FAFSA can get really complicated really fast. If you invited the wrong person, you'll need to correct the contributor info and make sure that the right person completes their section. This one alone can actually block processing, so it's very important that you get this one done as soon as possible. Now, I'm not a professional tax advisor, but the best way to figure out which parent is the correct contributor, it's usually the one that the student lives with. If it's not the one that the student lives with, it's usually the one that provides more than half of the student's financial support, or the household that the student belongs to, even if they don't live there full time. This can get complicated fast, so make sure that you consult a tax advisor, a tax attorney, or some type of financial professional to make sure that you're doing this correctly. Here's another huge one. A missing signature or missing checkbox where it says that you have to agree to the terms. Even if you filled out every question on the FAFSA successfully, if the contributor does not sign or complete their part of the FAFSA, then the FAFSA is just going to sit there like a car with no keys. This is what I mean when I say missing consent. Go back in and make sure that every required person completed their portion and submitted it successfully. Something else that is really common is tax mismatch. When IRS info doesn't match records, this can cause issues. Names, filing statuses, or numbers not lining up can trigger delays or the verification process. Now, it's not the end of the world if you trigger verification, it just takes longer. So, if your tax situation is different year to year, double checking the filing status and making sure the info matches what was filed is a great way to ensure that you're doing this properly. If something changed dramatically, such as income level, family size, anything like that, that might be a separate special circumstances conversation with your school, just depending on what changed. Regardless of the situation, make sure that you keep really good records and make sure that you analyze and document every single part of the FAFSA for your records. Household size and dependents can change your aid calculation. When filling out the FAFSA, people accidentally will count the wrong people, or sometimes they forget somebody that they provide more than half the support for, or other things may arise. Correct these issues and also keep your story consistent when the aid office asks about it later. Don't change things on the FAFSA and forget how to explain it in real life. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is marital status changes. Marital status can change everything. If you put married while you're separated, or vice versa, correct it. If you got married recently, or you separated recently, this can change the contributor status as well. Just ensure that you're providing accurate information and all is good. Now, school codes are the sneaky one. If your school isn't listed properly on your FAFSA form, then they can't receive the FAFSA aid for you. Add the schools that you're applying to, and later on down the road, the ones that you don't want to go to, you can remove those later. But it's very important that you don't forget to put your school on the FAFSA, because then they won't be able to get any information about you, and this could really slow things down. Now, this one may sound redundant, but simple things like your name being misspelled or the incorrect social security number can really affect things. Simple errors like your name, your date of birth, or anything else like that being incorrect can cause chaos when it comes to processing your FAFSA. Make sure you fix these immediately and then recheck your confirmation screen. Okay, here's what I want you to do after you're done submitting your corrections. You can look at this as your after corrections checklist. First, I want you to screenshot the updated confirmation. Then, I want you to email your financial aid office. Let them know something like this. I submitted a FAFSA correction on the date, whatever the date is. Can you confirm that you received the updated FAFSA? This will save a lot of problems down the road, just in case they didn't receive it. Also, if you're selected for verification, make sure that you respond fast. The longer you wait to submit your information for verification, the longer it's going to take for you to get your FAFSA aid, so do this as quickly as possible. If you guys have any questions, make sure you drop a comment, and if it's something that I can help you with, I'll definitely get to it. I hope my video helped you out when it comes to making corrections to the FAFSA. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you won't miss my next guide. I hope you have a great day, navigators. Bye for now!